right now. One of the most important prophetic structures in human history does not exist. And yet, multiple biblical prophecies say it must exist again before the final events of history unfold. But there's a problem. The place where that temple once stood is now occupied by one of the most famous religious structures on earth, the Dome of the Rock, which sits on the ancient site known as the Temple Mount. So here's the mystery. If prophecy says a temple must rise again, how could that possibly happen? Tonight we begin a 6-part investigation into the prophecies, the preparations and the modern events that suggest the world may already be moving toward it. And what we discovered gets more unsettling the deeper you look. Nearly 2,000 years ago, the Grand Second Temple in Jerusalem was destroyed, and since that moment, a central piece of Jewish worship has been missing. There has been no temple, no altar, no animal sacrifices, no priesthood functioning in the way it once did for centuries. And yet, if you look into the Bible, it seems to describe a future temple, one that doesn't exist today. How can that be? Let's look at the prophecies. In the book of Daniel, chapter 9, there's a fascinating prediction about a future 7-year period. It says that halfway through, sacrifices and offerings will be stopped. But think about that for a second. For sacrifices to be stopped, they must have already started again. This implies a functioning temple will exist in the future. Then fast forward to the New Testament. In 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, the Apostle Paul describes a mysterious and powerful figure he calls the man of lawlessness. Paul says this person will do something absolutely shocking. He will enter the temple of God, sit down, and proclaim himself to be God. But again, for this prophecy to be fulfilled, there has to be a temple for him to enter. Right now, there isn't one. For any of this to happen, something dramatic would have to change. So where would this temple be built? The land where the ancient temples once stood is now one of the most sensitive, contested religious locations on the entire planet, the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. This single, elevated platform is sacred ground to 3 major world religions. For Jews, it's the holiest site, the location of both the first and second temples. For Muslims, it's revered as the noble sanctuary, home to the iconic Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And for Christians, it's deeply tied to the life of Jesus and prophecies about the end of the age. This small piece of land has been a flashpoint for centuries, sparking riots, wars, and intense global political tension. It raises an obvious and very serious question. If attempting to build a third temple here could ignite a worldwide conflict, why do so many people believe it's not just possible, but inevitable? The answer lies in a convergence of ancient prophecies that many observers believe are already starting to align in our time. The stage is being set for something the world has not seen in millennia. Have you ever read something in the Bible that just stops you in your tracks? In Revelation chapter 11, the Apostle John is given a really strange command. He's told to measure the temple of God. Now, here's the catch. John wrote this prophecy decades after the Second Temple in Jerusalem had already been destroyed by the Romans. So, why would God tell him to measure a temple that was nothing but rubble? Many Bible scholars believe this wasn't about the past, but about the future. They see it as a prophecy of a third temple, one that would stand during the end times events described in Revelation. And it's not a one-off mention. In Matthew 24, Jesus himself talks about a future event called the Abomination of Desolation, a term first used by the prophet Daniel. Historically, this event is directly connected to the temple. This leads to a truly startling conclusion. For these major biblical prophecies to be fulfilled, a temple might need to exist in Jerusalem once again. But what if I told you this wasn't just ancient theory? What if the preparations for this temple have already started? Right now in Jerusalem, there's an organization known as the Temple Institute. Their stated mission is to prepare everything needed to rebuild the temple according to biblical instructions. They've meticulously recreated sacred artifacts based on ancient scriptures, gleaming golden menorahs, intricate priestly garments, and holy vessels for temple service. There are even reports they've been identifying and training men descended from the tribe of Levi to serve as priests. Everything is being prepared for a temple that, for now, only exists in prophecy. This raises an unsettling question. If the instruments are ready and the priests are being trained, What if the temple building itself is the only missing piece of the puzzle? But if that's true, there's one more ancient requirement that has to be met before any of this can happen. And this final piece of the story is so incredible, it sounds like something straight out of a Hollywood movie. What is this missing key? Have you ever heard of the red heifer mystery? It's a fascinating story that goes back thousands of years. In the book of Numbers, the Bible describes a very specific, very rare ritual. It required a perfect red heifer, one without a single blemish or even a non-red hair, to create special ashes for purification. Without these ashes, the ancient temple worship couldn't take place. For centuries, a suitable heifer just couldn't be found. It seemed like a forgotten piece of history. But then, something changed. Just recently, a group of perfect red heifers were born in Texas and flown all the way to Israel. As you can imagine, this sparked enormous excitement, especially among those who study biblical prophecy. They see this as a huge sign, a crucial first step toward restarting ancient purification rituals, and possibly paving the way for the rebuilding of a third temple in Jerusalem. If these heifers are indeed declared ritually pure, the path toward a new era of temple worship could suddenly open up. It's a development that has the world watching. But even with the red heifers in place, there's one massive obstacle that no one can ignore: the location itself. The Temple Mount in Jerusalem is one of the most contested pieces of real estate on the planet. Right now, it's home to the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and it's administered by Islamic authorities. The idea of building a Jewish temple there is, to put it mildly, explosive. Political leaders, religious figures, and historians all recognize that any attempt to do so could ignite an international crisis of unimaginable proportions. This is the question the world seems to be avoiding. Because of this intense political and religious deadlock, many people assume the third temple will simply never be built. It just seems too impossible, too dangerous. But for prophecy watchers, the story is far from over. They see the current tension not as a dead end, but as part of the unfolding narrative. They believe that what seems impossible today might just be setting the stage for something extraordinary tomorrow. After all, history is filled with events that no one saw coming. What do you think? So here's the mystery we're left with. Ancient prophecies describe a temple that does not exist. Modern organizations are preparing for one anyway. Rare ritual requirements, like the red heifer, may suddenly be appearing again. And the location where it must stand is the most contested land on Earth, which raises a question that feels almost unbelievable. What if the world is slowly moving towards something most people aren't even watching? What if all these seemingly separate events are actually connected, pointing towards a single world-altering outcome? For thousands of years, this specific plot of land has been at the center of faith, conflict, and prophecy. It's a place where history is written in stone and where the future of humanity might just be decided. To understand the stakes, we need to go deeper. Because in the next episode, we're going to investigate exactly why the Temple Mount is considered the most dangerous piece of land on Earth. We'll explore the intricate web of religious beliefs, historical claims, and political tensions that make this small platform in Jerusalem a global flashpoint. We'll uncover why control over this sacred site could determine whether the third temple prophecy ever happens. We'll look at the groups on all sides who are willing to do whatever it takes to protect their claim. And what would happen if one of them finally made a move? But before we continue, I have one question I want you to think about. It's a hypothetical, but it gets to the very heart of this issue. If a plan was suddenly announced tomorrow to build the third temple, a structure prophesied in ancient texts and longed for by millions, how do you think the world would react? Would it be seen as a miraculous step towards fulfilling a divine plan, a moment of global celebration and unity? Or would it be the spark that ignites the largest religious conflict in human history, a war that could draw in nations from every corner of the globe? The implications are staggering. Take a moment to really consider that. What do you believe would happen? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious to see what you all think. It's a conversation worth having. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what's next, and I'll see you in the next episode. This is the Watchman Record. Thank you for watching. Leave any comments below and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.